Good morning, coronavirus pandemic.
If you are sick, stay home.
Society facing uncharted circumstances. Several restrictions in place and officials are urging social isolation.
Got it down low. Johnson makes it home.
Plus, sporting events canceled, no March Madness, NBA basketball suspended, and many other sporting events taking other precautions.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
President Trump also taking drastic measures, issuing travel restrictions. This morning, we've got you covered on all angles.
Join us now for Coronavirus Pandemic, a Waking Up with Cardinal Weather special. Wow, and just what a week it has been. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. You're waking up with a special edition of Cardinal Weather. I'm Tyler Brummett.
And I'm Annie Keister.
And I'm Madison Surface.
And guys, this week really just one that we have really never seen. I know a week that we will definitely remember both in our college careers as well as, our professional careers. Speechless.
I think a lot of that initial shock is still setting in 2 days later.
Yeah, and I know that shock is going to continue. A lot of action has been taken. This is impacting, seriously, every aspect of life.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of crazy to think that, what's everybody going to do now? With all these sporting events being canceled or classes being canceled or moved to online, what does everybody do now with our time?
Yeah, and we're talking about it this morning. We're going to talk about literally everything that has to do with this. Of course, the decision coming down, Ball State deciding to cancel classes, that was really a move that followed other universities, So again, a lot of people talking about that, but again, Ball State making that decision to cancel in-person classes for the rest of the semester. That, of course, coming amid those concerns of the coronavirus. And this is all going to be starting Monday. So University President Jeffrey Mearns, he made the announcement in a campus-wide email that we all got Wednesday evening.
The email says beginning Monday, class will be replaced with, quote, virtual instruction and alternative learning options. Additionally, all university-sponsored or funded events of 100 people or more will be suspended through April 30th. At this time, students are not being directed to leave campus. University services and offices will remain open.
And due to this changing situation, Waking Up with Cardinal Weather will not be on air next Friday, March 20th. As for the next few months, we'll keep you updated here on Facebook, and we'll discuss it a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, and we're journalists, so again, this is something that we will continue to stay on top of, at least this morning. Even if we're unable to do shows, we'll at least keep you updated on social media. And as students on campus here at Ball State continue to prepare to move all of their coursework online, the university now saying some classes may even be meeting next week. BSU sent out this thread of tweets. You're seeing it right there. This came out yesterday, saying a majority of classes will be replaced with virtual instruction beginning Monday. However, Ball State also says smaller classes with more hands-on learning could require some time to make that transition, saying it should all fully happen before March 23rd. The information is also listed on the university's website, and students, as you would expect, are reacting to this unprecedented decision by BSU, and they're really reacting with mixed emotions.
They say commencement might not even happen, which feels, like a ripoff to me.
I want to know if they made this decision on their own or if they really just looked at all the other schools around the country and just did what they're doing.
Students stunned by Wednesday's decision by Ball State to move classes online.
I woke up from a nap. My roommate's like, bro, we're done for the semester. I was like, you mean 2 weeks? And she was like, the semester, and I couldn't believe it.
The unprecedented steps taken following similar moves by other colleges across the country. And one day later, students are now learning more about what will happen with their classes. But some things are still unknown. Seniors wondering now what could happen with this year's commencement.
I have seniors in my class who are really concerned, and they're like, I don't know if I'm even going to be walking across the stage.
I don't know what options we have, whether it's not even so much about a refund to me at this point, just getting the college experience that I actually paid for.
And as the move to online classes is about to begin, people across campus are still grappling with the new reality they now face.
I'm trying to be open-minded because I understand that people making the decisions are looking at a lot wider scope than I am.
I definitely think it's a little bit over the top.
It was a hard decision for them to make, and I'm glad they made one and made it fast.
And guys, I do want to point out that I reached out to university officials for an on-camera interview yesterday and no one was available. But we do have an interview lined up for today. Our sister organization, NewsLink Indiana, will bring you that conversation on the midday show beginning at noon. Of course, just a bizarre situation. And as we said, Ball State not the only school in the state of Indiana that is getting rid of in-person classes. BSU's decision came one day after IU and Purdue took similar action. So far, neither school has had a reported case of COVID-19 on campus. Students I talked to at both schools were stunned following the announcements.
Dude, I didn't even know about that. Like, you're the first one telling me that right now. When we got the email from the president of McRobbie's email list, that's when we knew it was something serious, other than the other updates that were just like little updates.
Notre Dame, as well as the University of Indianapolis, have also announced plans to cancel in-person classes and to make that switch online. Butler doing the same, extending their spring break. We've got a full list online at ballstatedaily.com when it comes to those in-state universities.
Meanwhile, IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital here in Muncie is taking action as concerns of COVID-19 continue to spread. The hospital is preparing for when Delaware County gets its first case of the virus. IU Health launched a virtual screening app this weekend. The app is designed for you to talk to a doctor without even leaving your house. IU Health is hoping that keeping patients at home will help slow the spread of the coronavirus. Hospital officials say right now anyone who is showing flu-like symptoms are not allowed in the building.
If you are sick, stay home. Stay out of big crowds. Please don't go to events until you're feeling better.
Says it will continue this plan as long as the virus continues to be a problem. And the city of Muncie is also taking precautions against the virus, the city asking only essential people come to City Hall. And it asks to limit entering any public buildings. If you do have to enter City Hall, they ask that you call to enter, and your temperature may be taken upon entering. Regular scheduled meetings will still take place, but the city does ask the general public to limit attendance and refer to the online stream instead. You can find this full post on the City of Muncie's Facebook page.
An update to a story Newslink Indiana brought you earlier in the week. The Muncie St. Patrick's Day Parade is canceled for tomorrow, March 14th, because of COVID-19 concerns. The city of Muncie released a statement saying, in the best interest of our citizens' health and after careful consideration and conversations with health professionals, the Downtown Development Partnership, the city of Muncie, and the Delaware County Health Department have decided to postpone Saturday's St. Patrick's Day Parade. To find out more information, go to ballstatedaily.com.
And the cases of coronavirus are continuing to increase in the state of Indiana. So far, the state has had at least 12 cases, and there will be an updated number coming today at 10 a.m. The State Department of Health said there are at least 2 confirmed cases in Marion County. Additionally, Fiat Chrysler says an employee at a factory in Kokomo has tested positive. Elementary, middle, as well as high schools across the state are also making similar changes. Governor Eric Holcomb's office announced yesterday schools will be allowed to close for up to 20 days to handle it. Annie?
Public schools across the nation are closing amid growing concerns about coronavirus. Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Maryland have become the first states to shut down all K-12 schools. In Michigan, the governor closed schools for 3 weeks. That's until April 6th. All schools in Maryland will be closing for 2 weeks starting Monday. In Ohio, schools are closed until at least April 3rd. The state's governor, Mike DeWine, says it will impact over 1.6 million students. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said in a press conference Thursday that all the state's public and private schools will stop in-person classes for at least 2 weeks. The governor, Jay Inslee, tells school districts in Washington state to prepare to close as well. Many other schools across the nation have announced closures, including districts in New York, Georgia, Texas, California, and Connecticut.
And take a look at your screen right now. An interesting sight. In Ohio, riots break out after one school in Ohio cancels classes amid the outbreak of the virus. When police arrived on scene, they say they found University of Dayton students throwing things and jumping on cars. Students say they were celebrating. Police responded with firing paintball shots into the air, as well as tossing pepper balls into the crowd. One person was hurt after being hit by a bottle. Police have not announced the number of arrests.
The NCAA announced on Twitter that the annual March Madness basketball tournament has been canceled. The basketball tournament was not the only tournament to be dropped, as the announcement also claimed that all NCAA tournaments and championship events for the winter season have been canceled. College sports governing body has yet to announce if all spring sports are canceled along with their respective tournaments. And many major league sports have put an indefinite halt to their seasons because of the coronavirus. The NBA, the NHL, the MLS, and the MLB have all ended their seasons early. NASCAR, the PGA, and IndyCar have chosen to keep operations going, but without spectators. The NFL is still all systems go. However, they have suspended all travel until further notice. The PGA Tour is the latest in sports to announce schedule changes because of the coronavirus. After at least one player pulled out of the event Thursday, the PGA is canceling its Players' Championship. The PGA says it's also canceling all other events for the upcoming weeks. More details about the decision will be released today.
Also closing due to COVID-19, the happiest place on earth. Disney announcing yesterday that Disneyland and Disney World both closing. The theme parks in Shanghai and Hong Kong were already closed due to the outbreak. U.S. locations are expected to be closed through the end of the month. But resort hotels, you should know this, they will stay open until Monday to accommodate those guests who might need to make other arrangements.
And the show must go on, but even Broadway is making accommodations. 5 shows have announced they're slashing ticket prices starting today. You can see some shows like West Side Story for only $50. This lasts through March 29th as health experts are advising people to avoid crowded places when possible.
And live audiences are out. Several TV shows are pulling their studio audiences or in some cases canceling over coronavirus concerns. These shows include The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. They join Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, which had already stopped taping with live audiences.
And also in the world of television, CBS News making a move after 2 employees test positive. The employees work in 2 different buildings in New York City. That's according to an internal memo from CBS. Employees in both buildings are being asked to work remotely until the offices are disinfected. And employees who came into contact with those individuals, well, they're being asked to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Some CBS productions are moving to different locations, including CBS This Morning, which is broadcasting temporarily from Washington. The New York headquarters are expected to reopen Monday. Time right now is 8:12. We want to take a turn now and get a first check of that local weather. Joseph, good morning.
Yeah, right now it's been a pretty nice day outside for the most part, but it is pretty cool outside. We're sitting in the low to mid 30s across much of Indiana. Right now we're sitting at 40 in Muncie and 36 in Indianapolis for the most part. That's because we had a cold front that moved through yesterday that's caused those temperatures to drop, but in return it's actually led to some pretty nice conditions. It's also pretty gusty outside as well. We got winds of around 13 miles per hour in Muncie and 14 in Logansport. Those are winds that are coming from the west-northwest, again, because of that cold front. So overall, those temperatures feel like it's pretty colder outside. So if you're going out right now, make sure that you're wearing a light jacket as you're heading out. But at least for the most part, it's clear outside. At least partly cloudy to mostly clear. Let's look at this. Mostly just clear skies across the viewing area. So right now, it is gorgeous. I'm going to be first tracking how we're going to have a cool but average Friday out for today. Then I'm going to be tracking how we could see some rain and snow mix moving through first Saturday. And then finally, I'm going to be tracking how we could see rain showers and potentially some more warm temperatures for next week. So just make sure to keep ahead for the forecast.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much. And just ahead, we're going to get back to news regarding the coronavirus. We're going to be talking about the national response from President Trump as well as the federal government as concerns surrounding COVID-19 continue.
That and more after your weather now.
Welcome back. The current time is 8:14 and you're taking a look here at south of McKinley, just around the Teachers College. President Trump is cutting off travel from a new part of the world as we now face a global pandemic. Daryl Forges is at the CDC with the latest.
To keep new cases from entering our shores, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
President Trump suspending travel from Europe to the United States beginning Friday at midnight. The restrictions will not apply to the United Kingdom.
There will be exemptions for Americans who have undergone appropriate screenings, and these prohibitions will not only apply to the tremendous amount of trade and cargo, but various other things as we get approval.
The president says he will soon be taking emergency action to provide financial relief for working Americans who fall ill, get quarantined, or have to take care of anyone infected by the coronavirus.
Effective immediately, the SBA will begin providing economic loans in affected states and territories. I will be instructing the Treasury Department to defer tax payments without interest or penalties for certain individuals and businesses negatively impacted. Finally, I am calling on Congress to provide Americans with immediate payroll tax relief.
Despite stocks plummeting into bear market territory Wednesday, President Trump says he expects an economic boom when the outbreaks slow down.
People are leaving their homes. I think you're going to see a tremendous pent-up demand, which hopefully won't be in the too distant future.
From the CDC in Atlanta, I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
Additionally, President Donald Trump could declare a major disaster or emergency today for coronavirus. People familiar with the decision tell CNN Trump has decided to use federal disaster powers to release more resources to combat the spread of the coronavirus. Sources say the formal declaration is going through the White House legal review as officials navigate how broad it can be. Trump's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, told Republicans the president may sign a disaster declaration under the Stafford Act. The declaration would free up funding and allow Federal Emergency Management, or FEMA, to head up certain aspects of the outbreak response.
And meanwhile, coronavirus driving the stock market down, and we just heard Daryl Forges talk about it a little bit. With all three major indices now in bear territory, they were down almost 10% yesterday. The Dow and S&P 500 saw their worst day in 30 years. The last time the stock market dropped this low was Black Monday back in 1987. I want to once again take a turn to that weather forecast. We'll talk a little more about the coronavirus in a bit. Joseph, good morning.
All right, good morning to you, Tyler, and just good morning to you, Tyler. Yeah, right now we're actually tracking some pretty cool temperatures across Indiana. Right now, again, we're sitting at 40 in Muncie and 35 in Kokomo, and that's because yesterday we had a cold front that moved through. As stated before, that cold front is pretty much making conditions similar to what it was yesterday. We're pretty much yesterday morning, -5 in Muncie and -8 in Indianapolis, so a little bit cooler than it was yesterday morning, but so basically just the same thing. But on the bright side, we're seeing mostly clear skies throughout the viewing area. We're seeing clear skies in Muncie and Madison County. So just make sure to just wear a light jacket as you're heading out for the most part. Those clear conditions and cool temperatures are expected to stick around for most of the day. We're going to jump from 38 at 9 a.m., then rise to 43 by 1 p.m., and then rise again to 46 by 4 p.m., reaching our high of 46. So you might not even really need a light jacket if you're heading out by 4 p.m. for today. But you will need one for tonight as we dip down to a low of 32 with partly cloudy skies and winds coming from the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So, yeah, for the most part, it's going to be a pretty cool but nice day out for today. However, that will not be the case for the weekend, at least for Saturday. We're going to see a rain-snow mix moving through, along with a high of 40 for tomorrow, so cooler than today, and combined with some north-northeast winds of around 5 to 10 miles per hour. It will feel cold, but after that, Sunday, we're expecting a high of 43 for Sunday, and that's going to time out that precip for you as of now. After seeing some clear skies for Friday, we're going to start seeing snow chances moving through around central Indiana by around 8 a.m. for Saturday morning. But then after that, most of the rain and snow is going to start tracking southward, with Cincinnati being exposed to potentially some snow flurries and rain showers as well. Meanwhile, most of central Indiana will be spared. Looking at a closer look, Delaware County will most likely just see some scattered showers moving through during the overnight hours. But after that, we expect some pretty clear skies throughout and whatnot to Sunday morning. Then after that, we expect some pretty cool conditions sticking around for Sunday morning. We're going to track a high of 44 for Muncie and 47 for Indianapolis by 2 p.m. before dipping down into the low, before the low 30s for Monday morning. So looking at the mid 7-day forecast, we're going to track a high of 46 for Sunday, high of 40 for Saturday with rain and snow mix, and then we're finally going to start seeing temperatures into the mid and upper 50s throughout next week, along with some chances for rain and showers. So definitely make sure that you are wearing a rain jacket for next week, and definitely make sure that you're driving safely as you're heading out for Saturday afternoon because of that rain snow mix that could potentially take place.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a fan of that rain there.
Absolutely
Hopefully
not.
we can get some better weather in the near future. Joseph, thank you so much.
And in just a moment, we take a break from talking about the coronavirus.
We've got some of your other health and space stories after a message from NIDS.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, MITS will take you there.
Welcome back. The current time is 8:21. And you're taking another live look there at south of McKinley as we move in. There are a couple clouds moving over, but bringing it back in here. While the coronavirus is making headlines around the world, it's time to take a look at some other health news. That's where Natasha Leland comes in here. Good morning.
Good morning. The battle with e-cigarettes is far from over. Some companies are continuing to sell flavored cartridge-based vaping products, violating the Food and Drug Administration's new policy. In February, the FDA put enforcement actions into place against e-cigarette flavors other than tobacco and menthol. 22 warning letters have been sent to retailers and manufacturers. They have 15 days to respond before the FDA implements more action. The agency says that its top priority is protecting young people from the dangers of tobacco use. And among new health discoveries, scientists have found many new species of chlamydia. But don't be alarmed, because these species aren't the same sexually transmitted bacteria. They were discovered deep below the sediment on the seafloor of the Arctic Ocean. They thrive in this environment due to the lack of oxygen and very high pressure, so they don't need a host. These bacteria are closely related to the sexually transmitted, and researchers hope the discovery will help them better understand how chlamydia came to affect humans.
And in space, the Mars rover mission has been postponed. The European Space Agency and the Roscosmos Space Corporation were supposed to send a rover to the red planet last year. The project's primary goal to try to find evidence of life on Mars and to better understand the history of water on the planet. The two space agencies collaborating in the joint mission made the announcement Thursday that they had decided to postpone the mission until 2022. It's only partially due to concern about the impact of coronavirus. The agency cited technical reasons as well. The spacecraft wouldn't be ready in time.
And astronomers found an out-of-this-world discovery. It turns out there's an ultra-hot exoplanet where iron rain could fall during the night. Astronomers found it orbiting a star in the Pisces constellation. It receives thousands of times the radiation than Earth gets from the sun. Researchers believe blazing temperatures turn molecules into atoms and metal into vapor, which then develops into iron vapor. Heavy winds push the vapor to the, relatively speaking, cool side of the planet. That turns the vapor into clouds, which then release the iron rain.
In weather history today, on March 11th, back in 1917, Newcastle, Indiana was struck by one of the state's worst tornadoes. This is scary here. It smashed a large factory outside the city and then quickly moved southeast throughout the town. The fast-moving storm tore through multiple streets and caused devastation south of downtown. In less than 90 seconds, It did a lot of damage. It destroyed over 500 buildings, including the city's famous greenhouses. It also left 21 dead before leaving the city, and then it ripped through both Henry as well as Wayne counties, destroying several barns and killing 3 more people. 8:24 your time right now. We want to go ahead and get a look of that national weather. Tyler, Ryan, good morning.
Good morning.
Could we be seeing some severe weather?
Yeah. We actually are going to be pretty active week with the virus as well as severe weather throughout the week. We'll get into that here in a couple moments. Right here on the national map of the warnings, we're dealing with some winter weather up to the north, in Montana, parts of Seattle and Portland area, seeing little winter weather warnings. But like I said, we are going to be dealing with that severe weather later on today. We'll be timed out here. But on the radar, we are just dealing with some showers down here in the south. We are dealing a little bit of those thunderstorms kind of pushing through Dallas, but the big story is later on today. We'll see down in the south, the same area in down in Texas, we'll be dealing with that severe weather, but like I said, we are just dealing with some rain come off to the east coast just a little bit, just kind of some nuisance a little bit, nothing crazy. But precision cast, let's time this out. Down here in the south near the Lubbock area, this is where the severe weather is going to be the main threat, is down in this viewing area. Around the morning or 5 o'clock afternoon hours, around 5:30, we start seeing these showers really start to develop, and these are going to be some strong, but overnight, as we get into the overnight evening hours, that is when it's really start to develop. As here timing out on the precision cast, these storms really start to really ramp up and producing some severe weather, and that is actually why the SPC has issued a slight risk, or as we call a level 2. For severe weather. Now we're based off a level 5 scale, but they've issued a level 2 slight risk for today. And some of these threats are really mainly just the tornado risk. We're going to see level 2 for tornado as well as for damaging wind and hail. And then some areas that are some more heavier could see some locally flooding, can't speak today, of these threat levels. So it's definitely going to be a very active day today, as it has been the past couple of days. This is actually a 3rd day in a row of severe weather. But we're going to be kind of timing this on precision cast. That is going to push off to the eastward and then start to develop into this large area of rain and some snow that's going to be impacting us. And that is why we actually are seeing some of those winter weather watches and warnings in effect, is due to this large system kind of up to the north that's been producing some nice heavy amounts of snowfall, as well as we're going to see some heavy rain kind of push through here on Saturday morning, and that is going to continue kind of pushing through into the Saturday evening, and that's when we're going to start seeing that rain and the snow kind of coming into our viewing area. So it's going to be a pretty active day for the next couple of days as well. So here, pushed the wrong button. But here, like I said, that those warnings, like I said, we are seeing a lot of those. The snow and the rain kind of pushing through, but definitely down south we can see that severe weather.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're hoping, that there isn't a lot in the way of severe weather. I know down south, they've really been dealing with a lot. We're still thinking of the people in Knoxville or in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, excuse me. They've really been through a lot following those tornadoes. I know we didn't really talk about it because we were on spring break.
Spring's here. The severe weather is starting to ramp back up. We just got to be weather aware.
And we're getting right into severe weather season.
That's true.
So, of course, we will continue to keep you updated. Tyler, thank you so much. And like we said, guys, just a week unlike any other. And we're going to just have some of our final thoughts after the break. Stay with us.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, NewsLink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. NewsLink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
Click on it.
Welcome back, Live Look, once again down McKinley Avenue now at 8:29. A beautiful shot there. You can see some clouds rolling in. We want to thank our faculty advisor, Tim Underhill, for that shot, looking very beautiful out there. And we're going to talk a little more about the coronavirus here in a bit, but we do want to take a look at breaking down the science this morning. This morning, we're talking about hail. Ryan Crump, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Down the Science. Today we're going to talk about some hail. And I'm going to explain how hail is actually developed and even how it could create damage. First of all, we have this column of warm air that rises, condenses, and then it cools. Once that happens, we create clouds and then thunderstorms are created. After that, we have an updraft. And with this updraft, we have these super cool water droplets that are actually in the atmosphere. And once that happens, it develops until it goes into this below freezing temperature line. And these super cool water droplets actually freeze up. And once it freezes up, depending on how fast the updraft is, it will form into these bigger hailstones. And once these bigger hailstones are formed, then gravity will eventually take over and it'll fall down to the surface. Once it falls down to the surface, that is considered as hail. And once hail is and you know how hail is actually developed, hail causes a lot of damage. And once that damage, it could cause car damage, it could cause dents in metal, it could cause property damage. And once that property damage, and once we get through that, we can also see that we have hail damage. Once the hail damage occurs, then we have hail is actually developed. The biggest hailstone ever recorded was in South Dakota, which is almost 8 inches in diameter. So thank you for breaking down joining us with breaking down the science segment. Back to you.
All right, looking at final weather for the last time, we're going to see a high of 46 for today. Then we'll drop to a high of 40 for Saturday, along with the chance for a rain-snow mix that could potentially impact your commute. If you're heading down to southern Indiana, we could see some scattered showers here. So just make sure to stay safe. Then we'll see temperatures rise into the mid-50s for next week, along with a chance for some more scattered showers. So just basically make sure to keep an umbrella with you if you're having to travel out for the weekend or for next week, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much. And we want to take a moment now to kind of just talk about everything, because this has been probably the most interesting week of our college careers. Joining us now, a familiar face to some, my former co-anchor, our chief weather forecaster for NewsLink, executive producer for Cardinal Weather. You do it all, Gabe Crow. First of all, thank you so much for coming out here. I know
it's weird to be in front of the camera
now.
Yeah,
we missed having you out here.
Yeah.
But again, just a really weird week. I know we were talking earlier. You made the decision, and I think we can all say this was a good call. Next week we won't have a show, but we're hoping to possibly do some other shows throughout the rest of the semester. When that news came down on Wednesday, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us realized it was inevitable for us to cancel classes in some way when we just are seeing how quickly this is spreading, how many issues it's causing around the world, and really it's a good decision to minimize that spread, but I think all of us were shocked to see the rest of the semester.
Yeah.
So I was speechless at first.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest, I'm still speechless even at this point, because I know with NewsLink Indiana, which is our sister organization, as many of you guys know, we kind of had a plan in place.
Right.
And we kind of had a plan in place for this show as well, but we didn't expect it to be the whole semester. We were like, okay, they might cancel classes for 2 weeks, put us online for those 2 weeks, but we didn't think that it was going to be 2 months, because a completely different situation. You're talking half a semester here.
So incredibly shocking, and we were just talking a moment ago about how this is not our typical mood here for Cardinal Weather. Feel lighthearted. It's a little bit different this morning because we're all just shocked.
Yeah, and typically, we're laughing, we're joking, we're having fun, and I know some of our viewers might be like, wait, where was that today? We're journalists at the end of the day. Yeah. And it's important for us to make sure that we cover this. So, of course, that's why we've just been on top of this. I made a comparison yesterday, and I know we were joking around. We were like, okay, this is a bit dramatic. But when I found out about this, as a journalist, I was like, wait, I might not be going on air again until August after today's show. And I kind of compared it to, when you lose a loved one. And yes, this is a bit dramatic, but when you lose a loved one, you think, what if I had one more week? What if I, had a little more time with them? And that's what I was thinking about you guys and, my friends. And
And I'm sure the feelings are the same for seniors everywhere, like at the different universities. And I know IU and Purdue are some of the big name schools that were first to make the decision to switch onto the online classes. So that's kind of why we were thinking maybe like a week or two. And then for seniors to hear that, no, you're done. Like this is your last day of school this week. Like that I can't imagine. I mean, I'm a first year student and I'm still shocked and I can't believe like, oh man, my freshman year, like
it's
just
over,
cut
bam.
off. Yeah.
I think this shows one reason though why we on this show have been covering this all semester long. From the beginning of the semester, we've been talking about this when it started back in Wuhan and the spread throughout the world.
We were talking about it last semester.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of crazy to just think about that. Kind of back to Madison's point, though, about seniors, one thing we don't know yet, will commencement happen? We don't know. And imagine how that feeling must be for seniors. I was speaking with Marley Thomas, who's one of our reporters over in our sister organization, Newslink, Indiana, and she actually, really had a reaction that was just heartfelt because for her, she was like, wait, this is my last class. Like, because she doesn't have any Friday classes. Yesterday she had her last class, and it kind of hit her, and I know she was a bit emotional about it. Our executive producer over in Newslink, Celia Lavoie, having a similar reaction because for us, for those that are seniors, they're kind of just like, hey.
And you have to think of all the Ball State athletes as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting taken from underneath them. You weren't prepared for this.
Yeah, and especially for those athletes who are seniors because they're like, hey, I'm not going to get to play another game. And, we've seen the reaction come out, March Madness getting canceled. This really just having a lot of effects that you wouldn't think about.
Right. And I think just because of that shock, that's why we're going ahead and not having a show next week, just because we don't know, frankly, where our students are going to be. Or where if people will go home or whatnot. How long the university will even remain open was something we were talking about earlier this morning.
It is worth mentioning right now students are still allowed to stay in the dorms.
Right. The university will remain open.
Yeah. So the university will remain open, but
I
no
will say
in-person
that is a
classes.
concern though, is the housing on the university and are students going to be, how long are students actually able to stay in the dorms and how far ahead are they going to hear, no, you need to move out now, like this has gotten really serious. How long are the services going to be open to students? It's just, there's a lot of questions kind of up in the air right now. And I think they're kind of giving time though for these students to get over the shock of, whoa, we're done.
Well, and back at the beginning of the show, we heard some of those reactions. And I think one thing that was kind of interesting to me was hearing about all the different concerns. Obviously, we're limited on time, so we couldn't put all of those reactions in there. But we heard students talk about like, hey, I have a job. Am I going to get to keep my job or is my job fired?
I mean, I think this is far from over. And as we continue to go on further with it, we're going to see more and more problems come up. It's just going to be a continued jump to get through.
Yeah, and it'll kind of just be interesting to see, not just how the university handles this, but the federal government, people in everyday life. Last week, I actually talked with Virginia Kane, the director of the Marion County Health Department. She was encouraging people, obviously, not to shake hands, doing what they are calling in Indianapolis the Indy bump. Yeah. You heard about that? Elbow bumping, air bump as well. There we go. But I think that's an important point for people to know those side effects and kind of those symptoms that could come with COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. So really it all starts with, there's no need to necessarily be fearful because if you can put yourself in the position of power by arming yourself with information, there's no reason to be afraid. I mean, it's the same thing with weather. As we say with severe weather, if you can recognize, when a storm is coming and what you need to do to survive, your odds of getting through it are very good. So we just wanted to remind you some of those symptoms are a fever, especially if that fever is over 100, or a cough. It's a respiratory, so really sneezing, runny noses are not that common with this particular strain of the coronavirus. And if that fever is over 100, for several days, you have a cough for several days, give your doctor a call. Currently, health officials are recommending you not go straight to the doctor's office.
Yeah, and as we're kind of getting closer to the end of the show, I think one thing that is kind of worth mentioning, we do not want to put fear into people. Like, we don't want you to be worried. We don't want you to feel panic, but it is important to take those precautions to make sure that this does not spread, that it doesn't become worse. But again, just something that is definitely going to continue. And as we kind of have a minute left here, this could very well be our last show. If that's the case, we want to thank all of you guys who have watched. We didn't think this would be the way that our semester would potentially end. It's very possible, again, that we'll still have shows, and we do want to make that part clear. Our control room is right back behind this camera. Guys, can we come out here for a second? I think it's kind of...
Everyone out in the newsroom to come back.
Yeah, hey, newsroom. Come on, guys. We're still on air. We kind of just want to, take a moment to say thank you to our production team. Amelia Talar, she's back there directing, running the board right now.
Without her, we couldn't do this show.
Yeah, really without her,
She's
without our
staying in the
assistant head
control room.
production manager, Lindsay Kendall, who you see right there, we couldn't do this show. This is a show we enjoy putting together, and I think it shows every week. This week, obviously, a different set of circumstances, but again, to you, our viewers, we love you guys, and to you guys, I love you guys a lot as well. Yeah, well, and that's one thing worth mentioning to our seniors here.
Tyler and Joseph both graduating.
You guys both graduating. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts.
I mean, this is where I got my start. Thanks to Liz Subcheck. I started my first live breaking down science, and then upgraded up to national, and then did local. I mean, this has been my favorite show. The homecoming show with you and Annie, that was fun.
That kicking contest.
Yeah,
maybe we can have another one.
Damaging equipment, no.
It just allows my personality to come out.
And you have one too.
And everyone here knows my personality real well, and it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure being part of the show. I hope this is not the last show, but if so, it's been something I'm going to take with me, the rest of my life. And I really hope the show's in great hands with Gabe and Tyler and Annie and everyone who is not graduating. But it's definitely just been an honor being on the show and being able to be part of such a great group and a great family.
And we thank you for all your hard work. We share the same name.
Yeah, that's true.
We always make jokes about that. Different spelling. But again, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know where Joseph. Oh, there you are.
He's right here.
Last thoughts?
This show just kind of reminds me of the fact of the human spirit. We have made it before. We will make it.
We're going to be okay.
We are going to make it. This show is just an example of what teamwork really looks like, what a family really looks like. I just love working with you guys so much, with what I would call my brothers and my sisters. How does that sound?
Yeah. We really are a family, and again, that shows. And best of luck to both of you guys, no matter what happens. And again, we are hoping that we can do shows. I don't know if there's even anyone on prompter, so prompter might not scroll as we move.
It's all good. It's all good.
Shweta, come over here. Shweta's our floor director.
We're just getting everybody out here.
Yeah, we're getting everyone over here. As we kind of wrap things up, any last thoughts?
No, just of course a thank you to our seniors, everyone who's put in work all semester long. This is my first semester here joining at the desk, and it was so exciting for me. I can remember my first show, just shaking, so nervous.
And
but of course
Madison
it has been
joining
incredible.
us,
Madison
too.
joining us 2 weeks ago. That was awesome.
And this is something we should mention, because as it's very possible that you were only on 2 shows, this is something we intend to continue, more of a 3-anchor format.
I was so excited, seriously.
And we wanted to have her try queso for the first time.
Our original plan was to have her try queso today, but
that's what I would
obviously
go viral with, was not knowing queso.
Yeah, well, hey, we can still have you try queso maybe sometime in the near future.
Nice live stream. I'll do it. I'll do
Absolutely.
it. Absolutely. Anything's possible with Cardinal weather.
And again, we may very well not be done this semester, so hopefully we will see you back here in a couple weeks.
We hope so.
But that will do it for us here this morning at Cardinal Weather. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and again, as we mentioned, we might not be back for the rest of the semester, so if that's the case, have a really nice and safe summer, safe travels. We're off next week. We might see you the week after.
Stay with us here on Facebook.
Yeah, have a nice weekend, and we'll see you soon.